Hello everybody, and welcome back. Today we're going to be taking a look at all of my Friday the 13th hockey masks. Starting off, we have Jason's mask from Friday the 13th Part 2, which was made by BeyondDisgustingStudios.com. Their representation of the Friday the 13th Part 2 bag mask is probably the closest that there is on the market to Jason's mask from Friday the 13th Part 2. They also offer a 2009 sack mask, which honestly, I think the 2009 sack mask, while it's a nice look, I don't think it is anything near as creepy as the original Part 2 bag. I think the Part 2 bag is just very creepy, and I really do like their rendition here. The leather cord and the very dirty mask, and they actually have a stitch on the eye, which a lot of people, when they make theirs and sell them on like Etsy, they actually just paint it on there. It's actually a stitch, not a paint mark. So this is probably the closest there will ever be to a actual Part 2 bag. Right next to that is a Fear City Creations Friday the 13th Part 3 hockey mask blank, which came with the chevrons and straps, of course. This one I painted using heirloom white on the front, and on the back I painted it with a flat or satin white, also by Rust-Oleum. The chevron in the middle I split, so it's close to the original prop, and of course I also covered both sides with a layer of gloss. I did not buy the expensive varnish that was applied to the original prop, simply because I do not have the money to buy imported varnish for one mask. Next, we have another mask from Friday the 13th Part 3, the hockey mask worn by Jason, as it was seen in the barn scene. Unlike the rendition I did, which is closer to how it looked when it was worn by Shelley, this mask was painted by Crash Creations, or Crash Cunningham, and he is probably the best hockey mask maker on the market. His paintwork and detailing and everything is absolutely incredible. I'd say he definitely makes some of the best pieces. Right next to that is Roy's mask from Friday the 13th Part 5. Comes with a Hunger Institute of Mental Health sticker. I think Roy's mask is probably one of my favorites in the series. I really do like those side chevrons. I think they'd look really good in green, too. Next to that, another one of my favorites in the series, Jason's from Part 6, Jason Lives. I'd say in between this era, in between Friday the 13th Part 3 to Part 6, is when Jason was definitely at his best. I think Richard Brooker, Ted White, and CJ, they definitely did a really good job playing the character and bringing to life that hockey mask's menace. Having nothing to do with said menace, here is the original inspiration of Jason's hockey mask, a Fibrosport. Not an original, it is a replica created by Fiberglassmasks.com. They excuse me, they make some really good masks. Some of the best hockey masks I've seen. I think their fiberglass masks are incredible. I just think their Jason masks compared to Crash aren't necessarily best, but I think if you're looking for like the Part 5 poster mask or the Part 3 novel mask or any of like the actual hockey masks, like this one, the Fibrosport, I think they're definitely where you'd want to look. Because fiberglass is certainly a really good material for masks, in my opinion. Next to that is another mask that I highly recommend, a Milek mask. This one is stickered up to represent the Friday the 13th Part 3 novel, which I was just talking about. The mask on the cover was very heavily inspired by Milek. Next to Jason from Friday the 13th Part 2, made by NECA, is a custom Friday the 13th Part 2 sack mask that I sewn myself. It is pretty alright, and holding it up, actually, is the NECA Friday the 13th Part 3 hockey mask. Next to that is a Spirit Halloween hockey mask that I repainted to kind of resemble the Friday the 13th Part 3. However, it is kind of interestingly damaged and beat up. A bloodied hockey mask, which isn't too great. It's kind of worn down over the years. One of my first masks, the final chapter one of the very first that I ever made. A final chapter poster NES inspiration, kind of inspired by like the opening of the original NES video game. And then, of course, Roy's hockey mask, which is very dirty and grimy. Let's actually get up there. Look at that. Nice and gross. Right after that is a Spirit Halloween mask that I repainted to look like the hockey mask from the Hollywood Horror Museum, which is actually, I do believe, a mask that came off of the set of Friday the 13th Part 3 and went unused until Part 5 was used for, I think, the window scene when Tommy looks down and sees Jason standing in the yard. I found this hatchet here for $15 at an antique store, and it reminded me a lot of the hatchet held by the silhouette in the poster for Friday the 13th Part 2, which we assume is to be Jason. Of course, the Friday the 13th Part 6 hockey mask, which I added some felt to the inside to darken the mask. A Friday the 13th Part 7 NES inspiration. Jason from Part 7 appeared on the NES cover art, or box art, so doing it as like an NES inspo was kind of necessary in my opinion. I really wanted to see what it would look like, and I thought it looked kind of badass. Next up is the Friday the 13th Part 8 Jason Takes Manhattan inspired hockey mask that I made, which I omitted the axe mark because continuity, that it just doesn't make sense for Jimmy to have a mask that has the axe wound in it. The Jason Goes to Hell hockey mask, which has a more Part 7 like boat damage. And then a Freddy vs. Jason mask, which I also painted up like the rest in this small lineup here. And that concludes the collection. I've collected quite a few of Jason's masks, from the bags to the hockey masks, over the years, and definitely say these here are my favorite. The Crash Cunningham hockey masks, they're extremely well done, especially the barn scene mask, one of the most iconic masks in the entire series. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.